Oh, you gotta take a look at this. Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger are both returning for the sixth Terminator film. James Cameron, who made the first two films, is producing, with Jim Miller from Deadpool directing. The Hollywood Reporter held an event in Los Angeles where the news was revealed. Cameron helped craft the story with Miller and a writer's room that included David Goyer from The Dark Knight, Charles Eagley from Dark Angel, and Josh Friedman from the Sarah Connor Chronicles. The story will not just bring back the original characters, it'll use them as a vehicle to pass the torch to a new generation. We're starting a search for an 18-something woman to be the new centerpiece of the new story, Cameron said. We still fold time. We will have characters from the future and the present. There will be mostly new characters, but we'll have Arnold and Linda's characters to anchor it. The new film, which does not yet have a release date, is being crafted as part of a trilogy that can stand as single movies or form an overarching story. It's also being viewed as a direct sequel to Terminator 2: Judgment Day. Awesome! Ignoring the three sequels that followed. No more is known at this time, but of course I will keep you updated as soon as I learn more. And in this week's gaming news, the theme of Super Mario Odyssey is all about travel, and appropriately, it's one of Mario's most diverse adventures yet. From underwater worlds to the age of the dinosaurs, the new Mario game will take its character all over the world with a new host of abilities by his side, all in wonderful, spectacular 3D. E3 2017 provided us a solid release date for Mario's next outing to rescue the princess, October 27th, 2017. Super Mario Odyssey isn't a direct sequel to the Galaxy franchise, despite having a suspiciously similar premise. In both games, Mario traverses a number of unrelated worlds called kingdoms in Odyssey, in the search of missing cosmic planetoids. That's not even mentioning gameplay, which feels more like a speedier Mario 64 than it does 3D World. At E3 2017, a trailer was shown with Mario really putting some stamps in his passport. In it, we saw a new dinosaur level and one of Mario's new tricks, which looks very, very cool. He uses his hat to take control of enemies and NPCs. The cap can be thrown at an enemy in order to possess them and take advantage of their unique powers. Cappy is a character in his own right, a resident of the Cap Kingdom. Cappy had his sister stolen away by who else but Bowser, and decides to work with Mario to rescue her. You rely on this power of possession throughout the course of the game. You'll have to possess certain enemies to traverse the environment, possess others to beat certain enemies, and others still will allow you access to secret areas. Much of the enjoyment of the game looks like it's going to come from trying out different enemies in different situations and seeing what possibilities they unlock. Mario's previous adventures have taken him to many familiar locations in the Mushroom Kingdom, but this new outing marks something of a departure for the series, as it will include semi-realistic environments. In fact, one stage is called New Donk City. It's basically New York City and boasts pedestrians, vehicles, and tall skyscrapers. We've also seen a desert landscape similar to Calamari Desert from Mario Kart 64 and a lush jungle landscape filled with dinosaurs. Super Mario Odyssey is the second game from Nintendo in 2017 that has mass appeal. Add to that list a new Pokemon game, Metroid Prime 4 sometime in the next year, and of course Doom, and it finally feels like the Switch is becoming no longer a novelty, but a necessity for the modern gamer. Recently, Proterra revealed that one of its Catalyst E2 Max electric buses just set a new world record for the longest distance traveled by an electric vehicle on a single charge. The bus, which packs a hefty 660 kilowatt-hour battery, equivalent to about 11 Chevy Bolts, drove a total of 1,101 miles at the Navistar Proving Grounds in Indiana. It's quite an impressive feat, considering the previous record holder was a lightweight experimental single-seat EV. While the 1,100 miles is quite a bit more than an average bus drives in a day, Proterra's record may prove quite helpful in persuading range-anxious transit authorities to ditch internal combustion engines in favor of battery power for future fleets. Of course, the other factor is how long it takes to recharge the thing. This is probably less of an issue with vehicles like buses, delivery trucks, and garbage trucks that spend their lives crawling around cities, since that kind of low-speed stop-and-go duty cycle plays right into the strengths of electric powertrain vehicles. And the vehicles can recharge at the end of their route. Now, Proterra also developed a high-speed charging system for the buses, although even with its high-voltage system in operation, the 660 kilowatt-hour record-breaking bus would still need at least an hour to get back up to a full charge. The electric medium and heavy-duty vehicle segment appears to be gathering steam. In addition to Proterra and the Chinese EV bus manufacturer BYD, Daimler recently announced plans to supply short-haul electric trucks to UPS. And of course, Cummins and Tesla are both working on electric semi-trucks too. And happening in this week's medical news, so many amazing stories that I had to create a whole segment for it. Artificial intelligence can now identify changes in the brains of people likely to get Alzheimer's disease almost a decade before doctors can diagnose the disease from symptoms alone. The technique uses non-invasive MRI scans to identify alterations in how regions of the brain are connected. Now, Alzheimer's is a neurodegenerative disease that is the leading cause of dementia for the elderly, eventually leading to loss of memory and cognitive functions. The race is on to diagnose the disease as early as possible. Although there is no cure, drugs in development are likely to work better the earlier they are given. An early diagnosis can also allow people to start making lifestyle changes to help slow the progression of the disease. In an effort to enable earlier diagnosis, researchers have developed a machine learning algorithm to discern structural changes in the brain caused by Alzheimer's. Now, in testing the algorithm on scans from 148 subjects, of these 52 were healthy, 48 had Alzheimer's disease, and 48 had MCI. The AI distinguished between the healthy brains and ones with Alzheimer's with an accuracy of 86%. The researchers were limited by the scans available from the database, so they weren't able to test whether the algorithm could predict the onset of disease even earlier, but it is possible. The researchers now intend to extend the technique to help with the early diagnosis of other neurodegenerative conditions, such as Parkinson's disease.